Welcome to We Learn. This is session 5 on program inspection walkthroughs and reviews. In this session, we are going to cover topic introduction, inspections and walkthroughs, process involved in inspection and walkthroughs, code inspections. The duties of the moderator include an error checklist for inspections, data reference error, data declaration error, computation errors, comparison errors, control flow errors, and interface error. Basically, in this session, we are discussing here the inspection mainly. So, here the inspection that is to be again to check here. Basically here the majority of the programming community work under the assumption that programs are written solely for machine execution and are not intended to the read by people. So the only way to test a program is by executing it on a machine. That is checking again. Inspection is the we are doing here means to check here by executing the program on the machine to find out is there any problem, and the Winberg built a conveniencing strategy that why programs should be read by people and indicated this could be an effective error detection process. That's why effective you are getting it by machine that show you how the effect and it's working here. That is to be easily to be readable by the people and that indicate to be effective error detection process. That is by the experience the show that the human testing technique are the quite effective in finding errors. So much so that the one or more base this should be employed in every programming project. The method that we are discussing in this session that applied between the time and program is coded and the time that computer based testing being. So we discuss on the basic are the various way through which we can do it. And the basically journal recognize that the earlier that error are found, the lower are the cost or correcting the error and the higher is the probability of correcting the error correctly. And the next you can say programmer seems to experience of psychological change and computer based testing commences. And the next is here the inspection and walkthroughs. The code inspection and walkthrough are the two primary human testing methods. That it involves the reading or visual inspection of a program by a team of people. That is no human testing method that manually can be tested and to check what they want is getting or not. So that is why the or can be programmed by the team of people and method that involves some preparatory work in the participant. And that normally is to be done through meeting and it is typically known as meeting of the minds. Here a conference held by participant. The main objective of this meeting is that to find error but not to find solution to the errors but to test not to debug. Now basically we are going to process involved in this inspection and walkthrough. For the basically in this process is performed by group of people. They are basically the 3 and 4 can be say or only one of whom is the author of the program and which is consonance with the testing principle. Setting with an individual is usually ineffective in testing his or on program. So inspection and the walkthrough are for more effective compared to desk checking. So the process of program reading here his and her on program that is before to testing it, and because people of there are then the program author are involved in the process. Hence the program is essentially being tested by people other than author. This is the consonance with the testing principle and individual ineffective testing as her on program as it's shown you. So there are some basically we check that our correctness is emphasis or not computer board testing and other hand of normally exposed on the symptom of the error and error are usually detected by the corrected one by one. So this was the way through process we can walk through the inspection. Next is the come under the code inspection. In the code inspection, that team usually consists 4 people. The code inspection done by not only 1 people. They are the basically group of the 4 people at least, and one of the 4 people plays the role of a moderator. Means the may can be changed easily as per discussion, and the moderator is expected to be a competent programmer, but he or she is not the author of the program and need not be acquainted and with the detail of the program. Let's show here. So in the code inspection, that the step in the next slide given you can be done here. That is basically duty of the moderator which included. So first is the distributing material for scheduling in inspections. Next is the leading the session. The next is recording all error founds and ensuring that the error are subsequently corrected. So these are the duties of the moderator can done. They check whether other material is according to schedule or not. May can be problems, they remove and rectify it, and the leading the session is properly according to the plan, recording all errors found in here and to ensure error are subsequently corrected. Basically here the moderator may call the quality control engineer, and the remaining member usually consist of the program designer and the test specialist. The general procedure is that moderator distribute the program listing and design specification to the other participant that will in advance of the inspection session. So participants are executed familiar that themselves with the material prior and the session. So this way the other main activity can be done by the moderator to maintain the software quality. Next is an error checklist for inspection that comes here. The inspection they check here and they find out some error that categorize here. So an important part of the inspection process is the use of a checklist to examine the program for common errors. The checklist is largely language independent, as most of the error can occur with any programming language. That language is independent, but find out the most that is covering of the error. The checklist check again the language through each point and find out the basically error can be arise, which kind of it arise. They are categorized here. Data reference error. Basically this is the variable reference whose value is unset or uninitialized. This is the probably the most frequent programming error. More frequently programming, that is errors come under the maybe logical mistake and syntactically can be done. So these are the wide variety of the circumstances can be here. For all array references in each subscript value within the defined bounds of the corresponding dimensions. And the next is for all array reference does each subscript have an integer value, and this not necessarily an error in all language but a dangerous practice. Why? Because this kind of the problems can create a serious fault and a failure. For all the difference through the pointer or reference variable is the reference storage that correctly allocated. So this is known as dangling reference problem, and it occurs in situation where the lifetime of a pointer is greater than the lifetime of reference storage. There are any explicit or implicit addressing problem. Like we have discussed already some implicit and explicitly problems, and this on machine being used, this unit storage allocation and smaller than the unit of storage addressability. If a data structure is referenced in multiple procedures or subroutines, so is the structure that is defined identically in each procedure. When indexing into a string, the are the limit of the string exceeded. So these are the kind of the data references error, because the data is reference of different procedure or subroutine, can be small module, function. So this kind of error can be sometimes create the problem from either implicitly or explicitly. Next is the data declaration error, where the data is to be declared here, whether it's correctly declared or not. There all variable has been explicitly declared, a failure do so not necessarily an error, but it is a common source of trouble. If all attributes of variable are not explicitly stated in the declaration, so are the default well understood. So they are the attribute of variable that we are using in the coding. So they are the very clearly to be defined, either explicitly or implicitly. So where a variable to be initialized in a declarative statement, it is the properly initialized, and is each variable assigned to correct length and type and storage class, that is to be need to check here. And is initialization of variable consistent is with the storage type or not. These are the points that are to be in the check in declaration error. Next are the computation error. Computation that you can be by the arithmetic, you can calculating here to check by the computation way. So there are any computation using variable having inconsistent, an example non-arithmetic data types. And are there any mixed mode of computations? Are there any computation using variable having same data type but different length? Is the target variable of an assignment smaller than the right hand expression? So they check the variable assigned according to the right hand expression and not the expression coding is given here, that it is comparing the right hand expression. So this was the computation errors. Next is the comparison error. Comparison when the one and more variable are to be comparing here. So they are the comparison between the variable that consists some data type, comparison character and the string type address. And there are any mixed code comparison or comparison between variable of different length. So you can ensure that the conversion rules are well understood. Here does each boolean expression state that it is supposed to be state, and programmer often make mistake when writing logical expression, either and or not. These are the logical expression that involved in the boolean to check condition. So there are some comparison including in this logical, and are the operand of boolean operator boolean and the comparison the boolean operator are surely mixed together. So the check we necessary to make, check here the comparison are to make it properly or not. Next is the control flow error. The control flow check over the flow if the program contain a multi-way branch. Example, a computed go to and foreign. Go to word is to be used here and sending to a foreign word, that is index variable ever exceed the number of branch possibilities. For example, you can say go to the number of variables are given here. So that will always have a value 1, 2 or 3. So here index value must not go beyond the 3. So check here the control error should be maintained here. Next there is a very every loop eventually terminate the devices and informal proof or argument showing that each loop in terminate that will program module or subroutine eventually terminate. Is necessary to control the control flow errors. Next is the interface error, that is in between the two component, interface is in between. So like this, does the number of parameter received by module equal the number of arguments sent by each calling module? Means you are given here 3 parameter are required but you are sending 4 and either 2, so this is kind of error is come under the interface error. So do the attributes type and size, if each parameter match the attribute of each corresponding argument is not or not. Does the number of argument transmitted by this module to another module equal to the number of parameter accepted by module? Basically we have to checking the parameter that is defined and to get by the user is correct or not. Next the last is here, do the attribute of each argument transmitted to another module that match the attribute of corresponding parameter in that module. Next is the kind of input output error. If the file are explicitly declared and the attribute are correct, this is to be checked here from the input and output error. And are the attribute on open statement, जो हम open statement डाल रहे हैं, क्या वो attributes clearly declared है नहीं? Is the size of input area storage is equal to the record size? And have all files been opened before use? Are end of file condition detected and handled correctly? Are there spelling or grammatical error in any text that is printed or displayed by the program? So these kind of error by which user are giving some input and correspondingly getting the output, that is done by this kind of the improper mistakes mistake can make this input output error. Next is the walkthrough. That code walkthrough, like the inspection, is a set of procedure and the error detection. Here the technique for group code that reading is to be share much common with the inspection process, but the procedures are slightly different and different error detection technique are employed. That's in the previous we have inspection, we go with the different way, but in this walkthrough that go with a different technique by grouping, that group the code and read it and the share much common, and over the result it ultimately find out the problem and the error detection. This is the exercise that you can do it by yourself. Is the code review are relevant to the software testing? Explain the process involved in the typical code review. The next question is explain the need for inspection and list the different type of code reviews. This is all in this session. We are winding up here. Thank you so much. Happy learning. We learn.